Alright, why Valve are not the good guys? I'm ready. What is this? By ShreddedNerd. Oh my god. Are you ready? Miracle! Are you ready? Are you ready for a miracle? Bang, bang, bang. It's given!
Valve have an incredible reputation. They're known far and wide as the saviors of games and gaming. It's possible that making this video might hurt my chances of working there, but I feel this is a video that needs to be made, because perhaps we should at least rethink this relationship. Yes, they're loved by the community even to this day. I think the general outlook on this company is still overwhelmingly positive. There was this Engadget video trying to expose Valve. It got a heap of backlash. It was a terrible video though, so I think the backlash was reasonable. But that doesn't mean we can't still scrutinize the company. Is their reputation...
You should scrutinize anyone who has a lot of money and try to look at them through a critical lens at every point of their career. Look what happened to Blizzard. They used to be beloved and now they get shit on all the time, but there's still people who love them no matter what.
Really earned? Why does Valve even have this reputation?
Because they used to make good games.
Well, from the beginning you can see the appeal. Two big players from Microsoft break off to create even smaller soft, using their vast pools of accrued wealth. They came out the door swinging. Their first game, Half-Life, was a massive hit, made on a modification of the Quake engine named Gold Source. They flexed their technological prowess with advanced scripting and animation technology. Half-Life is still held up as an example of game design today. To know why people loved it so much, why it had such an effect, simply compare it to the shooter games that came before. There was so much more interactivity in the environment. It lent so much more to the world building. The levels were creative as well.
Cool,
I do think it's interesting to note that many of the critics would later come to bemoan things like scripted, highly directed level designs, scripted story sections, canned sequences, slow cover-based shooting, on-rail sections, turret sections, and slow movement all throughout the 2000s typically don't hold Half-Life to the same scrutiny. It's funny hearing PC gamers complain about things like this, while also often holding Half-Life up as the pinnacle of PC first-person shooters. That's not a knock against Half-Life though, it still holds up well. Before I continue further, I want to mention I'm using a bit of time I have to test the waters for making YouTube financially viable. I've set up a Patreon to help cover my costs so I can upload more videos more often. The offer is simple. If you enjoy ShreddedNerd videos, consider donating. It will mean a lot more of them, a lot more regularly. Onto the video. What really tightened the valve and made the pressure build up around them in the gaming community was the observance towards the community. It seems Valve want to blur the dividing line between community and the company. They hired the fans. Valve, hire this man. They pulled from the broader modding community. Think of how big games created. Riot making Valorant was probably a lot like taking a mouse into a lab, except it was a gamer. It was built to capitalize on a particular market niche and is thoroughly a product. Conceived, designed, and built to sell skins. It is the archetypical soulless game. Now, how did its competitor Counter-Strike start? A couple kids in a basement. Bro, what if you took Half-Life Deathmatch and made about army dudes? That's fucking awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
And you know what Valve did? They didn't send a cease and desist. They bought them out. Made Counter-Strike a Valve property. It's similar.
They should have done that with Dota, but Blizzard tried to fight him over it. Fucking cringe, by the way.
Thing happened with Team Fortress because Valve.
Although I will take one thing back. I don't think Dota would have been as good as it is now if Blizzard still owned it or like had ownership of it.
Did legitimately support the community, not to mention how easy it is to create content for their games. The editor is incredibly easy to use and the engine is super portable. The engine is still being used to this day. Gmod just started as a Half-Life 2 mod and they eventually let the dudes sell it on their own storefront and become filthy rich off it. Valve has a reputation for flourishing communities because of things like this. That's not to mention how they would come to make even more critically acclaimed games. Left 4 Dead is absolutely fantastic, as is the Portal series. Team Fortress 2 is incredible. Half-Life 2 is, well, it is critically acclaimed, but it's not the top of my list. I've come to appreciate the setting more, but it's still a complete narrative departure from the first game. It feels like tonal whiplash. It's even more scripted than Half-Life 1. Seriously, people complain about unskippable cutscenes.
Pauses to answer the question. Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying that what if Blizzard had Dota instead of Valve? That's what I would have to... Like, what would have happened? You think Dota would be dead? Probably. Yeah.
But they've got to realize that
dead,
sitting
so
around while
probably.
NPCs talk at you isn't much better. In fact, it's probably worse. I don't think the enemy encounters are very engaging. Okay. Despite all that, it's still acclaimed. Why? Because physics. I mean, the physics were groundbreaking and redefined gameplay and were an insane technical accomplishment. Simply compare it to everything that came before. Physics are always fun. But this isn't a rag on Half-Life 2 video.
Blizzard had from the start wouldn't have been like HOTS at all. Yeah, but I'm saying with Blizzard's track record and how what they did with StarCraft, and StarCraft and Dota are kind of almost the same age as in like Dota and Dota 2. I'm not saying like Dota and Dota 2 are the same, but like the franchise itself is as old as StarCraft. You know what I mean? I feel like they would have just killed it or like ignored it like they have been with StarCraft. Because MOBAs are kind of like, you know, they're not a dead genre, but they're not getting really popular anymore.
Video. This isn't even really a critique of their games, it's a critique of Valve. You'll notice I didn't mention CSGO, one of their biggest games ever. Technically not made by Valve, but it's a Valve game, come on. Personally, I'm not a huge fan. Whenever I see my friends play it, they will always log off angry. 100% of the time. I don't like round-based elimination game modes because I think attrition-based modes are far more fun. I prefer to actually play a game when I'm playing my game, rather than just sitting it out on the bench, spectating my teammates whenever I die. The idea of spray patterns feels unintuitive to me. It goes without saying that's not at all how guns work. But that's fine, it's a video game, not real life. It's just something about looking down to hit your enemy that feels like shit to me. More than anything, it feels like getting good at CSGO is a matter of rote learning, rather than practicing the skills of adjusting to dynamic scenarios. For example, getting this flick down mid. It's certainly impressive, it's certainly skillful, probably required many hours of practice. But it isn't, I guess, thoughtful? It's not like some mind-blowing thing you thought up. It's something that you practiced a million times. It feels like the way to get good at CSGO is by doing the exact same tasks for several hours a day for years to get your timing perfect. It feels...
That's most video games though. Because you can say the same thing about Fortnite and learning how to build and shoot and knowing the guns and stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit of a... Yeah.
Feels like doing homework. Of course, every game has this, but CSGO in particular just feels like perfectly memorizing a list of actions and...
World of Warcraft Arena PvP is just like that. There's a sequence of charts that you have to follow, like a flow chart. Who plays Fortnite with building? Oh, no, I understand. I don't think building in Fortnite is cool either. I think that's cringe. I think no build is better. At least from a watching perspective, but... Yeah. Learning any instruments just like that? That's also true, yeah.
Executing them in order. It's just not my idea of fun. But making a game that isn't to my taste isn't a sin on the part of Valve. It's what they did with CSGO. There's a much bigger thing that sours me on this game. You see, for the first few months of the game, it was that hardcore experience, solely focused on what Counter-Strike players liked. It opened in August 2012 to about 50,000 players, dipped to a monthly average of around 30,000. It jumped back up over 50,000 again in August 2013 and never dipped below again. It very steadily grew over time to the point where it isn't rare to top 1 million unique players. What happened in August 2013 to cause this shift? The Arms Deal update. What's that? It's the update that added weapon
gambling! Chat, we love love Gamba, right?
Cases, skins, and trading to the game. Nowadays, there is a generation of gamers who aren't even aware that there was a massive controversy around microtransactions. That is, purchases for in-game items.
True.
They were often associated with poor quality cash grab mobile games. Obviously, pay-to-win mechanics suck, and they're still prevalent to this day. Giving some players an advantage due to them spending more on the game is textbook manipulation. Of course, CSGO's system was only cosmetic. They do not affect the gameplay. But even that can be controversial, because having microtransactions in an already paid game, CSGO was premium at the time, seemed like double dipping. It's also because they affect the design of the game as a whole. In the past, cosmetics would be unlocked. You'd complete a challenge and get the items as a reward. For example, it was good for giving a sense of accomplishment, or for
yeah, I can agree with that. HOTS did the same thing. I unlocked like a special prestige thing that took me like hours upon hours to grind in HOTS, and then they just put it in the chest and in the shop to buy. I thought that was kind of cringe, so yeah, I get it.
Pushing players towards trying out a new game mode or playlist. CSGO had a similar fundamental system to TF2. You get crates, which you can unlock with a key that costs $2.50. You get a randomized item out of said crate which carries real monetary value. You can trade this item with other players and even sell it for Steam money. Can we address the fact that this is gambling? Like, you're playing a game of chance for an item of actual monetary value, and we know that kids play these games. The animations for case openings look like slot machines, and they still do to this day. It's worse in TF2 because the items can provide a gameplay benefit. They give you unique abilities. Now, of course, it's balanced out. I know that. They have benefits and downsides. You can still use the default weapons just as well. In fact, many people prefer them. But it's still tied to this paid system. It still affects the gameplay. Let's say there's a particular item you want. You think it has some kind of utility that you desire. You either have to idle in a lobby, leaving your computer on for hours in hopes that it will drop for you, or you'll open crates in vain hope, praying to Gaben that you'll get the item. They tied weapons that alter gameplay to this system. You can pay for things that affect gameplay. I legitimately wonder how Valve got away with it. Perhaps it's because of the goodwill they were saving up from the actions I described earlier. Valve literally set up this Steam inventory system to facilitate some kind of game economy, but nobody really uses the Steam inventory system besides Valve. Now, what I really want to investigate is why.
Yeah, but Valve is massive. Like, Steam is massive. They're literally competitors with like Microsoft and shit. I don't understand, but okay.
Valve is able to get away with it. How are people okay with this? Payday 2 tried a system that was basically identical named Vaults, and they received huge backlash for it, so much so that they eventually reversed the decision and removed the system. They did say
I can't comment on this because I don't know enough about Payday 2.
before it launched that there wouldn't be microtransactions in the game, so they broke their promise. But I still feel that people wouldn't have cared so much if it was something innocuous that didn't affect the gameplay. If they said before launch that they'd never add unfunny YouTubers to the game, then 2 years later release the H3.
I still can't believe this is real, by the way. When someone told me they put H3 in a video game, I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? This is not real? Go look it up. Go look it up. It can't be. It's real, man. I'm telling you it's real. Yes, this is a real thing. I thought it was fake, but it's real. Yeah, you can buy it.
Pack. Most people wouldn't care that much about them breaking their promise. But Vaults received a huge backlash, because ultimately, people recognize how they negatively affect the game. It's not just the broken promise. There was also another situation with a site named CSGO Lotto.
Oh, the guy that is this the guy that would sell his own website to people while he was streaming and gambling on it and then saying it wasn't his and they found out it was his? Yeah.
But quite scandalously, they facilitated gambling. for CSGO items. Who'd ever imagined such a thing? They were basically online gambling for skins. You can see how this is problematic. They were widespread, and they were exactly as dodgy as you'd imagine, getting kids hooked on gambling virtual items. T. Martin and Syndicate, two huge YouTubers, were promoting CSGO Lotto to their mostly young audience. As it turned out, they both had a stake in the company.
Oh my god, no way, no way, no weighing, I'm no weighing so hard right now, holy shit, look at him, he's about to throw his headset off, he's gonna win the $1 million prize.
They were the house, underhandedly promoting a site as if they didn't own it. Extremely unethical and rightfully caused a huge controversy back in 2016. But their brand recovered from it rather quick. They felt no real consequences. There was a class action lawsuit against Valve, and Valve did eventually take down many of the existing gambling sites. But here's the thing, they're still around. Obviously they have to be more wary about being taken down, but it's still remarkably easy to find CSGO gambling. Biggest thing through all this, and to this day, the real house that always wins has been Valve. They benefit from this whole economy as it means more buy-in for their cases. But Valve kinda shrugged off this reputational blow. No one really blamed them. They still make money off what is essentially gambling for children.
I think there was a pro CSGO player that spent $20,000 and he got back like $120,000 through gambling. But it was in-house. It wasn't like off the websites. What's the difference between these sites and gambling sites? There is none. Literally none. There's no difference.
Most recently, the people monkeying around with NFT games.
No, they're not illegal as long as they present that it's gambling and you're above 18 and they know how to check. Yeah, it's completely legal as long as you're of age.
I don't know what they were trying to achieve. We've had Ape Escape for years. Not sure how this is necessary. There was this infamous LinkedIn post outlining the dystopian future of gaming ruled by NFTs. A planet of the apes, if you will. Basically, NFTs suck, well, for many reasons, but in part because they introduce scarcity where none needs to exist. They turn games into jobs for fake money that provides no real utility.
True.
And that's the crux of it. No utility. NFTs solve no problems. I saw some people saying that they provide no utility because it was something Valve had already achieved with their system. Well, yeah, Valve has already done it. Why precisely did NFTs rightfully get shit thrown at them for introducing scarcity where none existed? Well, Valve, doesn't. It seems that NFT games are just aping what Valve achieved. Valve's current system is precisely what our fear was regarding NFT games. It introduced a market and scarcity with gambling where there would otherwise be an actual engaging game system, like unlocks or rewarding
True, yeah, it's unnecessary. I agree.
People for, say, skill at the game. What else is worthy of critique about Valve? DRM, Digital Rights Management. For Valve, that'd be Steam. You ever heard of Denuvo? That complete piece of shit software that kills performance in games and hurts the experience? That's DRM. Yeah. It exists to stop piracy. You see, in the past when you bought a game, you owned the game. You didn't legally own it, but you had access to the product you purchased forever. Now, your access depends on
Yeah, back when you had digital copies, like physical ones, yeah, you kind of owned it forever.
The rights holder. It also never required an always-on internet connection. You could share games with friends, and you didn't have to sign into some service to prove you own a game. You could get pre-owned PC games and trade them. The online service was a huge controversial thing in the past. It seems that people complained about Games Windows Live, Uplay, and the Epic Store, and yet had no problem with Steam. There was some controversy at the time of Half-Life 2's release, but it died pretty quickly, especially when you compare it to controversy surrounding, say, the Epic Store. It is Valve who introduced DRM to PC gaming with Half-Life 2. They're the ones who made it a standard. They're the ones who made you download their client in order to be allowed.
Oh my god, look, 2004! Can you guys see that? Hold on, I'll move. Holy shit, look at that! It says 2004 at 12:07, 21:30. He's got... Holy crap! Dude, what the fuck? This is old as shit, man. fucking anime background. Oh, so beautiful. That's stunning. That's a relic. Is that Windows XP? Think so? No? Maybe? Take me back. I met my first love in 2004. Oh shit. Did you hold your hand?
allowed to play the game you purchased. Of course, I know how they gained adoption for Steam. It was with their service and the Steam sales, but it was still the idea of having the products you buy be tied to some company's whim. We saw this in action recently. Assassin's Creed Liberation will be unavailable starting in September. Your money, stolen, robbed. It's fully within their legal right to do it. Your games can theoretically be taken away at an instant. Not to mention that if you're hacked,
Shut
you
your
lose
mouth,
all
man.
your games. Oh yeah, and the classic scenario of Steam going down forever. Think of the games that'll be lost to history. There is also Valve's hedge
Oh no, nobody tell Lady that Steam could go down. She's got like fucking thousands of dollars in Steam games.
hegemony over PC gaming.
Don't tell
You ever
Lady.
wonder why they don't make games anymore? Why bother with making software when you can make so much more selling it? Obviously it's bad when a single company owns a huge share of a market. Valve owns about 3/4 of the PC gaming market. There is an ongoing lawsuit on exactly this, more specifically about Steam keys. There was another issue. Valve charges a premium of 30% to developers to sell on Steam. This wasn't sufficient enough to go on trial in this lawsuit, but it's still an interesting problem. Services like Xbox and the Epic launcher charge about 12% royalty to developers to sell on their platform. Steam are just about the only still charging as much as 30%. They can do this basically on account of their market dominance. I'm not saying that anything they're doing is evil. Steam is a better service than its competitors, but a market monopoly still deserves scrutiny, especially when they
Yeah, I agree that they are a better service, but yeah, I agree with him. You always want to scrutinize, like I said.
use their market domination to charge developers more than most competitors. The stuff I see companies like Microsoft, EA, Activision, Bethesda, and Roblox doing that gets backlash. And they, perhaps rightly, get a damaged reputation for it. But when Valve does similar things, they bounce back instantly. Their name remains untarnished. One such example is the Skyrim paid mods. Remember, mods have always been free content the community created for the community. Bethesda has their creation club now, and they get shit for it. They're introducing a big exclusive paywall right in the middle of the user-generated content community. They basically monetize other people's content. The creators themselves only get a fraction.
Sims does that too, by the way. EA, I remember the day I found out that Sims does this, it killed the modding community for Sims.
Of the revenue. What people tend to forget is that this paid mods thing was already pushed by Valve years ago with the Skyrim paid mods. I remember it being so controversial that they eventually discontinued it after the workshop was filled with troll mods. Of course they went to Valve for this, because Valve already had the experience in TF2, CSGO, and Dota of monetizing community mods. Remember Gaben's infamous line, "Money is how the community steers work." He got down-dooted into oblivion. Redditors were furious. Now, why is it so terrible that Bethesda introduces paid mods while it's completely fine for Valve to do so? People just have some romantic image surrounding Valve that they can do no wrong. It's some bizarre double standard that we have as gamers and consumers. If we're going to criticize what we see as poor practice in gaming, we should at least be consistent, push back against it wherever we see it. Now, there are some other controversies surrounding Valve, one about their work environment being toxic with factionalism and office politics, as well as feeling like you're in a state of constant surveillance. People say
that's everywhere, my dude. I've got a newsflash, it's everywhere. Find me a studio that doesn't do that, that's not massive, and I will eat my words, but only indie ones, like, what is it called, who made Baldur's Gate 3? Fucking hell, what their name is. Fuck. Don't even need to be massive. No, yeah, Larian. Larian has a notoriously really nice environment, but they also take their fucking time making their games and stuff. And they have a smaller environment. Yeah, it's everywhere, but I'm saying it's really prolific with massive ones. Yeah. I can't name a single, like, big company like with the big, you know, the top dogs like Bethesda and Valve and Blizzard and stuff. Google used to be a good company, yeah, probably like 40 years ago.
That they lack project
Not 40,
management
but
discipline
20.
and scrap many projects, leaving the more creative personalities in their staff frustrated and unfulfilled as a result of their not having enough creative output to feel a sense of achievement. I don't want to speculate about the internal workings of the company in this way. Many people can have
Just
entirely
whacking it with a
different
piece of
experiences
chicken?
of the exact same workplace. So a lot of this is subjective to people's experiences. Sometimes
Sure.
people just aren't a good fit for a company. That's inevitable when a company gets the size of Valve. Not everyone is going to have the same experience. Remember, it's way easy to single out the negative testimonies, but they rarely paint
Sure.
a full picture. Sites like Glassdoor are highly biased towards disgruntled employees because a happy employee probably isn't going to leave a negative review online or go
And they're not gonna complain. They'll just talk about it to their fucking
to the
family.
press. They're going to keep working for the company. Ultimately, speculation about internal culture is just that, speculation, so I'm not going to use this against them. What about Valve allowing basically any game to be published on their store? They will let anything be published so long as it's not malware. There are some other limitations as well, nothing with pornographic images of real people. I think that's fair. There's already a mountain of porn games on the store anyway, so I think this is a perfectly reasonable.
Flower Girl 2, furry sex poker, holy shit. 29% off. My stepbro is a femboy. Only Fap Simulator. Hot and Lovely 5. What the fuck? Holy shit.
Rule. But what about all the offensive games allowed? They could contradict the message.
Sex with
Very-
Hitler? What? How is
All
that
the offensive
allowed? Wait, furry Hitler? Sex with Hitler? Oh my god. How is this allowed?
They could contradict the message. A very, very
That's
small
actually
contingent
insane
of Twitter addicts
that that's
are very
allowed on
angry
there.
about this. I don't think this is an issue whatsoever, though.
Please touch some grass.
Nobody cares that you
Based.
pulled your random
Based.
indie shit off Steam in protest. I don't think that platforms should have such editorial control over what's available on it. I think it's good that they
No,
allow
you
some
wouldn't,
sense
Icy
of
Spicy.
creative
No, you would
freedom.
not.
If they want to have that kind of editorial control in terms of what you can and can't say in your game, they should have the same responsibility for the content sold as if they were the one publishing it. I hate that modern social media gets to pick and choose. They get the privilege of a platform while having the editorial rights of a publisher. There are, of course, perfectly reasonable limitations like banning NFT
the fuck
games.
up, man.
A few apes went bananas over this, but overall, it's a non-issue. It's a good thing, actually, that cancer provides no benefit to gaming. So Valve has obviously done plenty of good. Their games are legendary, but their record isn't quite so spotless. The worst thing is, we've gone so long without Ricochet 2. But also, I think we need to be more vocal regarding our criticism of companies and their practices, even beloved ones, the ones that make the game.
I think Valve is probably one of the better ones out there out of the big giants, but yes, I agree.
We love. If anything, we should be holding them to a higher standard and shouldn't forget about their problems so quickly. Obviously, I'll probably keep using
Sure.
Steam. I'm not anti-Valve, but they haven't always been the good guys. Please consider donating to the Patreon. Thank you very much for watching. Please
Patreon.
subscribe and goodbye.
Subscribe. Nah, he's got a good point. There's some stuff that I didn't know about Valve. Can we read the comments? Sure. Valve's promotion of Linux game and their mod support. That's cute. Valve's one of the most powerful companies on earth, and somewhat everyone seems to think there is some valiant, scrappy hacker David's facing off against the corporate glass of the world. Yeah, I would say a lot of people think that they're like the scrappy, wappy, like small company that was true like 20 years ago when they were actually small. Now they're legitimately fucking giants. Valve hasn't released a major original IP in over 10 years now. It's fair to say they're not primarily game developer at this point. True. Majority of their income is through publishing. Yep. True. True. Good video though. Clappers. Good video. The reason people people praise Valve is simple. They make good products and provide good services. People only start bringing attention to the company's controversies when they fail to make good products and services. They can't count to 3! They can't count to 3! Shit. True. Mommy! Piss. Shit! Piss. Fuck. Fucking shit on calm. Piss myself. Fuck. Piss. Fuck. Piss.